David, you were talking about the fork in the road. People are either really waking up or they're going deep into the mind control. Diabetes is up several thousand% in the U.S., spreading into Europe. I know it's not supposedly transmittable, but the point is the things we're having put in our food and water are that help trigger it. We've got so much happening. We've got cancer exploding. We've got just all forms of evil intensifying. We've got in the media and the culture just selling the most horrible things, and where torturers of children are actually the good guys. You can see the inverse taking action. And you can't just chalk it up to deviance or to decadent societies going into decline. This is a manifestation of evil. And the churches won't fight it. They're busy glitter bugging and, teaching magical thinking to people that, they'll tell God what to do and all this bizarreness. What is it all headed towards, David? And are we winning as free humanity? I mean, if this was a soccer game, a football game, where are we?
Well, having just passed the point of 25 years on this journey, and looking what it was like then to what it is now in terms of people being aware that the world's not like they thought it was, well, I mean, we have made the most fantastic strides, the most fantastic achievement in what we've managed to do so far. But where's it leading? I mean, because everything connects to everything else, everything you say comes in and connects somewhere. So, I've been having a chat today to a friend of mine who has studied DNA and seen DNA in various studies it's been involved in. And what he was saying is DNA is definitely getting weaker, and it's definitely mutating. Something's going on at that level big time. I was reading a story, it was on my website, and probably others too, I think it was yesterday, where a scientific study, mainstream, has looked at the DNA of the poor, the urban poor as they call them, in Detroit, and found that DNA is being fundamentally affected to the point where it is reducing more and more significantly the length of life of those people. This all fits. Why? Because DNA and RNA, which is fundamentally connected, are receiver transmitters of information. That's what they are. They receive and transmit. And
they're being told to die. They're being told to turn off.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example of what I mean. A Russian scientific study changed frog embryos to salamander embryos by broadcasting the information of the salamander embryo to the frog embryo and transformed it, right? Now, why can they do that? Because DNA is a receiver-transmitter of information. And I said before, everything is a frequency. So, healthy food, healthy organic food, clean water is a frequency. Polluted water, hello, genetically modified food is another frequency. And so when we are eating food or drinking whatever, or when we sit in school all day in Wi-Fi fields of radiation, when we are increasingly having our atmosphere transformed in terms of its radiation content on a fantastic scale, we are seeing that. We're seeing food as in the holographic level as something on the plate, but in its base form, it is an information field, and that distorted information field we call the rubbish food that we get and the polluted water, etc., and the Wi-Fi fields is interacting with the DNA, and it is changing it. What is a distorted information field going to do to another information field that's receiving it? It's going to distort it, and that's what's happening.
Let me stop you, because while you're speaking, they're Googling and putting up mainline prestigious universities admitting that our DNA is unraveling, degenerating, our sperm count's down almost 90%. They're admitting that they can charge DNA with the program sequence of another animal, and it will actually imprint that. So it's documented, and they know they're doing it. And you wrote about this 20 years ago, and now they're just now admitting it. They are purposefully reprogramming us to turn us into abominations. I mean, this is sick. I mean, if I was a foreign alien force, this is how I'd take over.
Is, Alex, that these ancient, endless stories all over the ancient world of the gods interbreeding with humans and transforming the human form. Well, if you understand how DNA works, you don't have to mutate the species and change the species by sexual procreation. I mean, how long would that take? You can do it by transmitting the information of the form you want to turn us into to the DNA on its frequency, and as it receives it, it will mutate in accordance with that information.
Sure, your DNA is a wireless receiver, and there's real Wi-Fi. That's why they can plug wires into people's brains now and make them stop having epilepsy. We are literally being programmed.
Yeah, and this is where the transhumanist agenda comes in. I mean, engineered wars, engineered financial crashes, all these things are absolutely vital to know about. They're absolutely vital to circulate and explain. But beyond that, the biggest agenda of all is the transhumanist agenda, because I've talked about the fact that this is a biological computer. They want to put technological computer software into the biological computer so that they can control it and control its perceptions and feed its perceptions on a level that we've not even seen so far. We talk about smart meters, smart TVs, smartphones, smart in front of all these new technologies. Everything with smart in front of it is designed to speak and communicate with everything else with smart in front of it. And thus, what they're creating is a sub-reality, an energetic sub-reality within a certain frequency band, the frequency band of human brainwave activity. And the idea is that they connect. If they can get technology inside of humans, the connection will be obviously technology to technology. They will connect the human mind, the human perception processes to this smart grid.
Sure, reality. It's artificial telepathy, and it's funny you say that. We were Google last year declassified from their own corporate records their own founding meeting 16 years ago, where they had the billionaire investors. They go, "Why do we need other searches?" And they said, "It's not that. Everyone's going to feed the reality into us. We're going to have an AI that's a mass hive consciousness tied into all these devices that are integrated, and it will now be a new reality." So
that's exactly what's happening, Alex, and that's why Google is absolutely at the center of this. It's no accident whatsoever. But not only does Google dominate the Internet, and the Internet is fundamental to this technologically generated fake reality they're building and want to attach us to, but they've also got this Google X laboratory. They're also buying up robotic companies to create artificial intelligence. It's an AI
takeover. The word is it's already artificially intelligent. We're in a science fiction movie. It's taking over. It's already making the decisions.
This is the point, but if you see what's happened up to this point is people have been pulled out of their expanded level of awareness, their true self, into the five senses by society being totally driven and focused upon the five senses. Everything's about look at this, smell this, taste this, all of it. And the education system is about locking people into the five senses and the left side of the brain, which connects more than any other part of the brain into the five senses. And people then get locked in a tiny, tiny band of five-sense reality. But what they want to do with the transhumanist agenda is take that another massive step forward. So instead of just locking people in the five senses, so that's the only reality they perceive, so they think people like me are crazy because I'm saying it's not the only reality, they want to create a situation where they have a technologically generated collective sub-reality, like a massive global cloud, as they call it, which is connected to the human thought and perception processes and is feeding this fake reality that we think is real.
I was about to say, they're not wanting to just gauge reality. They're wanting to control reality.
And completely dictate it, yes, so that we become no more than robots. Literally, we become biological, indeed, with the transhumanist agenda, biological, technological robots.
That's what they say.
David, no ability to think outside of what we're being fed. That's where it's leading, and that's what we must address.
Absolutely. Well, I know you've had a lot of projects going, and you just said you can come back on anytime, 2 weeks, a month, whenever you're ready for another hour, hour and a half. Please come on and break down the whole transhumanist deal. You can send some of your slides and documents. We could do a whole David Icke presentation here.